Welcome back, everyone. In this lecture, we're going to go over the solutions for the practice problems that were under level 1. Let's open up that Jupyter Notebook and continue. Okay, the first problem was this Old MacDonald problem where we wanted you to write a function that capitalizes the first and fourth letters of a name. And there's two different ways we're going to show you how to do this. One is with the capitalized method, and then the other is with the upper method. We haven't really shown you the capitalized method yet, except we added a note here that basically what capitalized does is it grabs an entire string and it uppercases the first letter in that string. So let's do it first with .upper, and then we'll show you how to do it with .capitalize. First, we want to grab the first letter. So I'm going to say first letter is equal to name at 0. And then I want to grab the characters in between. So we'll call these in between characters. And those are going to go from name at index 1 all the way up to, let's say, index 3. And then we want to grab the fourth letter. So we'll say fourth letter is name at index 3. And then finally, the rest is going to be name from index 4 onwards. So let's see if this works. We're going to just return first letter with in between with the fourth letter plus rest. So let's see if we actually get the same result there. Okay, so good. We get back MacDonald. Now what we want to do is uppercase the first letter, and then we want to uppercase the fourth letter. And now when we run this, we get back MacDonald. So this is how you could do this with uppercase. Using just indexing and slicing, you separate it out, uppercase what you need, and then concatenate it back together again. But you can also do this with the capitalized method. And the capitalized method is going to allow you to do fewer slices. So what we could do is kind of separate it out into halves. So we'll say first half of the name is going to be from name from the beginning all the way to index 3. So that's going to be basically the Mac part. And then the rest of it, that second half, and it's not really an even half, I should say probably second part, is going to be from 3 all the way to the end. And then what we could do is the following. I can say first half, and instead of calling upper, I'm going to call capitalize. Capitalize. And then I will concatenate that with the second half and capitalize that. And now when we run this, we get back the same results. So that's how you could use the capitalized method instead of the upper method. And basically what that does is it grabs two strings, this lowercase Mac and this lowercase Donald, and it uppercases the first letter or character in those substrings and then concatenates them together. So that's the Old MacDonald shown two different ways. Next, we have Master Yoda, where we're given a sentence. We want to return a sentence with the words reversed. So in order to do this, what we need to do is a couple things. First, we need to actually get a list of the words. So we're already quite familiar with that now. We can say word list is equal to text.split. And now I need to somehow reverse this list. And we actually know various methods of doing that. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to say text.split is the word list, and then I'm going to slice the word list in steps from all the way from the beginning to the end in -1, and that's actually going to be the reversed word list. Whoops, let's make sure we don't use a keyword there. Reverse word list, and let's return the reversed word list and see what happens. So notice here, I get back home am I, and then with Master Yoda, I get back ready are we. Now we do want an actual string instead of the list itself. In order to join this list, we can actually use a method called join off a string. So let me create a couple of cells here, that way I can explain how the join method works in case you haven't seen it before. Let's imagine I have a list here of a string A, B, and C. And I want to join this together. So I will call this my list. What you end up doing is you create a string. Here I'm going to have a string of 2 dashes. And then off of the string, you say .join, and then you pass in my list. And what this does is it takes the string you have here, and it's going to use it to concatenate as a fill-in between every item in this list. So if I just have a space here, it puts a space between A, B, and C. If I have maybe a bunch of O's, then it's going to put a bunch of O's in between A, B, and C. So a lot of times when you want to join things together, such as words in a list, you can either have it as an empty string, just a blank string to single quotes right next to each other, A, B, C, or we can have a space here and it joins together A space B, C. So in order to actually get this back as a string sentence, what I could do is the following. Instead of just saying reverse word list, I could say single quote space single quote dot join the reverse word list. And now when I run this, I get back the actual string itself. Home am I, and then ready are we. So that's a little introduction to the join method in case you haven't seen it before. Finally, we're going to discuss the almost there, and that was given an integer n, return true if n is within 10 of either 100 or 200. So the way we can do that is by taking note of ABS. So ABS returns the absolute value of a number. So we're going to return and check for the following. We want to check if 100 minus n, the absolute value of that, is less than or equal to 10. So we want to check that, but we also want to check another situation. So we're going to wrap this in parentheses to kind of state that's one thing we're checking. Or we want to check if the absolute value between 200 and n is less than or equal to 10. And then finally, we can return this. So we're just checking, hey, is 100 minus number the absolute value of that? Basically, the difference between that number and 100, is that less than or equal to 10? Or is the difference between that number and 200 less than or equal to 10? And when we run this, we get back the correct results. So this is false, this one's true, and then this one's also true. Okay, that's the basics of level 1. Introduced a couple of new things here, mainly the .join method and the absolute value function. In the very next lecture, we're going to go over the level 2 problems. We'll see you there.